everyone, welcome back to So Vintage. So in part 2, we are actually going to be creating and cutting out those customized pattern pieces, and we are going to actually begin cutting the fabric and creating the apron body. So yeah, we're gonna get cutting. So with that, I'll let you enjoy the video. But let me show you how you actually make those pieces. One of the pieces that you're going to need is your lower pocket. So our lower pocket is going to be 5.5 inches by 6.5 inches. Now I do recommend having a sewing ruler that looks like this, because it gives you inches along the bottom, so you have markings through here and you have inches along each side. Now, let me show you why that's important. So the first mark is going to be your easiest. So you want it to be 5.5 inches, which is the width of our pocket. So I'm going to do it this way. So what I like to do for my 5.5 inches is I want my lines to be straight. But what you'll notice here on this ruler is there's a line where 2 inches is. I'm going to line that up with the very edge of my paper. That will ensure that my 5.5 inch line goes straight. So I'm just going to hold on to that, and then I am just going to draw a line to 5.5 inches. Ba-bam! Now we want another line that goes 6.5 inches. And again, we don't want it to go on a slope, which is how I'm guilty of drawing my lines, on an angle. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my ruler, and when it's lined up, I'm going to notate that that is 1.25 inch to the edge of the paper from here to here. So I will ensure that that end of the ruler is also at 1.25 inches. That will ensure that when I draw this 6.5 inch line, that it is going to be straight and not on a slope. Now for our 5.5 inches again, I'm going to draw another line. Now for this side of the pocket, what I've done is I've lined up my ruler so that my 1 inch mark is right on top of the line that I've already drawn. That way I know that my line is going to be straight, and I'm just going to draw this out 5.5 inches, which will end up at the 6.5 inch mark because we're 1 inch in. Now this line is the easiest one because all you have to do is line up your ruler and connect the dots. And there we go, we have our apron pocket. Now I do write on it which apron it is for, what it is. Like I said, I'm going to be making a lot of these. And I write the dimensions. So just in case I ever have to figure out what this was, it's all written on there. I don't have to refer back to the book. So there you go. That is how you make your pattern piece. What other pieces will you need to make for this? You are going to also need a bias strip for your piping. And this is 1.25 inches by 26 inches. You do need 2 pieces of this because we are going to attach them together to make one long bias strip, because this is the piping for our ruffle, and our ruffle is incredibly large. And the reason why you don't want to make the pattern piece 52 inches is because your fabric is not that wide. So the pattern piece would be too long for the fabric, and plus it'd be a waste of fabric to cut it that way. That is why it's easier to do 1 strip, cut 2 of them, and stitch them together. Now you will notice that this does have some tape on here, and for some of these pieces you may need to again attach 2 pieces of tracing paper to make them big enough. You will also need an upper pocket for your apron. This one is 3.5 by 6.5 inches. You will need a necktie. This is 2.5 inches by 26 inches, and you will need 2 of them. You will need waist ties, and this again for Apron B is 2.5 inches by 36 inches, and you will need 2 of them. And again, the reason why there's a necktie and a waist tie is because of the way I modified this apron. You will also need a piece for your pocket piping, which is 2 inches by 6.5 inches. And finally, you will need your ruffle. You will need 2 pieces of this, and this is 4 by 43 inches, and this is with 1/2 inch seam allowances, and that is because you will be stitching the two pieces together to make one incredibly long ruffle. Now, the two pieces that are affected by sizing in the way I've done this is the bias strip for your piping and your ruffle. In the book, you'll have to refer to page 6 to figure out how long these will need to be. This is for the extra large size. And just a general guideline for this seems like for the piping, it's about a 2 to 3 inch difference, and the ruffle, it's about a 3 to 4 inch difference between the sizes, between each size, just in about. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out the apron and the lining. Now you'll notice with this fabulous fabric, the pattern repeats this way, and it is not random. That's really important for us because when we cut this out, we want to make sure that the pattern follows the direction of the apron. So we have, you know, so that the pattern isn't upside down or sideways. So we want to keep that in our head when we fold up our fabric, because if I fold my fabric this way and then cut it this way, our pattern is going to be going sideways, which we do not want. What's great about this type of pattern is that you can definitely see it on the reverse side of it, which is helpful when you're laying out your pattern pieces. Right, so I want to set this on the fold, and I do want, because I want to conserve as much fabric as possible, I'm going to try to get it as close to the edge as possible up at the top. But the thing you want to keep in mind is you want to, you know, peek over the edge to make sure that you've got the fabric there on the other side. And then we're just going to pin it. You want to make sure that your fabric is nice and smooth underneath your pattern piece. You don't have any bumps or wrinkles. And I also, where our dart markings were, I actually took a pin and just kind of scratched in the middle so it opened up the dart markings, so it'll make it easier to mark. So we are ready to cut. And since this isn't a very big piece of fabric, I'm going to go ahead and just use my rotary cutter right on the fabric. I'm not going to cut around it like I normally do, because again, I really like this fabric and I think I could use it in trims and stuff like that. So I'm just going to try to conserve a little bit more of it. So I'm just using my ruler to lay down next to where the pattern piece is, and then just use my rotary cutter and cut. And the reason why I also like to use the ruler, even if I'm not putting it right to the edge, it keeps the pattern piece laying flat, so it doesn't at all ever bunch up on me. And now what we're going to do is we're going to mark those dart locations. So like I said, there's a hole there, so I'm just going to take my fabric pencil and place a mark on my fabric. Okay, we need our markings on both sides of the fabric, so we're going to take off our pattern piece, flip over our fabric, place the pattern on top, line it up, and before I move on, I just like to make sure I can actually see my 3 darts. Make sure that they're well marked. Okay, so that's the body of our apron. Now we're going to do the same exact thing for the lining of the apron. So it's at this point that you either decide, do you want the lining of the apron to look the same as the body, or do you want it to be a different color, like the white? I think I have enough to do a lining in the same fabric, so I think that is what I'm going to do. So that's it. I hope you guys really enjoyed part 2 of the making retro aprons video. Go ahead in the comment section below. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that's covered in the video. Also, if you have your own tips or tricks you'd like to share, love to hear from you guys on that. And next week, I think we're probably going to be sewing next week. So as always, I love hearing from you guys, so comment section below, and to let me know you like this video and to help promote it, go ahead and click that like button, that big thumb, let me know. And if you are new to a Vintage Vanity and the So Vintage series, love to have you here. Go ahead and click subscribe. That's going to let you know when new videos have been posted. Every Tuesday we post vlogs. Every Thursday we post hair tutorials. And this is a little sneak peek. It's the end of the day. I've been wearing this all day. But sneak peek of what the next tutorial is going to be. And on Sundays you get the So Vintage series or other wacky miscellaneous things. But I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you soon.